Alrighty guys, so here we have the all new iPhone 15 Pro, and I gotta say my first impressions, just grabbing this thing just feels so good in my hand. They completely redesigned the new phone with titanium, which is not only a super strong metal, but also a very light metal. And I gotta say, it definitely gives off that premium feel. They redesigned the edges, so it's a lot smoother, a little bit curved. It's not necessarily straight anymore. And I noticed when I put it on the table, it kind of tips over. It doesn't really stand anymore versus the older generation. This is the 14 Pro Max, where it's a little bit more squared. And if I set it down on the table, it stands. So that just kind of gives you an idea that the curvature is real. Like, look at that. It doesn't want to stay still. But in terms of the way it feels, the older generation is still pretty smooth in the hand, but you can definitely feel a bit of that edge when you run your finger along it. So that is something that I noticed right off the bat when I opened up the phone, which is a nice little design change, but not, game changing necessarily. The 15 Pro comes in 4 different colors. There is a natural titanium if you want just that bare metal look. This one specifically is the blue titanium, and then you also get 2 more colors, which is the classic white and the black titanium. Another design change that they made that I really appreciate is the slimmer bezels. I gotta say that, putting it side by side, it's more noticeable, but when you're just using it as a standalone phone, you might not really notice it. But it definitely gives you a little bit more screen real estate, which is always nice. Something I wish I would have seen them do is slim down that island over here where the notch belongs. Because comparing it with the old version, it's about the same size. I thought, with the rumors coming out before the phone was released, a lot of people were saying that you're gonna get slimmer, island on top, but they didn't do that. I believe also the standard 15s, not the Pro model, also comes with a dynamic island as well. So if you were on an old generation phone, if you didn't have the Pro model of the 14, now you can get the base 15 and you still get the dynamic island, which is a really cool addition that they brought into the future lineup. Now I gotta say, there wasn't any major changes to the new generation, and that's kind of the expectation nowadays. Every generation of iPhone that comes out is pretty similar to the previous generation, just slight bump ups in performance, camera, slight design changes. But a big feature I will say that they implemented into the new 15s and the 15 Pros is the addition of USB-C. Now the great thing about that is that it opens up a lot of new features that come along with USB-C. We've seen this happen with the iPad Pros when that came out in 2018 or so, correct me if I'm wrong. But basically that allows you to connect external drives. So if you're someone who has a lot of files, accessories, you can charge things. What's really, really cool that I've discovered, you can actually plug in the USB-C onto the new iPhone and connect the lightning cord to the older phone and actually pull charge and charge the other device. This is also cross-compatible with Android devices or any sort of third-party devices as well. And basically the way it works is it'll determine which device has more charge, and that's the device I'm gonna be pulling the energy from. There's been so many times where I'm out and about and my phone's dying, I don't have a charger, or even if I do have a charger, I don't have anywhere to plug it into. So if someone has the new generation phone, you can always kind of share charge like that. You also get faster data transfer, faster charging. So battery life is very important nowadays, which is why the switch to USB-C has been a long-awaited addition. And so now that it's finally here, that problem is out the window. Another great feature that they did was getting rid of that mute toggle switch. Now, personally, I never really had an issue with it. I'm just used to it at this point. I always just leave it on mute. But they got rid of that switch and added an action button, which you can program to whatever you want, whether it's the camera, voice memos, etc., etc. So for example, I have this 15 Pro programmed to the flashlight. So if I just hold a button, boom. Very convenient. That's pretty much it about the design. Not much has changed physically on the phone. There's a little bit of a smoother edge, the USB-C and then little action button on the side. But most of the upgrades with the new 15 Pro and 15 in general has been more internal. You have an upgraded processor with an additional GPU core compared to the last generation model. It's called the A17 Pro. So you're gonna get a lot faster performance, a lot more efficiency. So if you are a big gamer or like a video editor, photo editor, I wouldn't really want to edit stuff on a phone, but if you do want to do that, you can now. The performance aspect is definitely there. You know, the graphic performance is a lot nicer. The overall phone just feels a lot more fluid and, you know, smoother and quicker and snappier opening applications. There's no delay and whatnot. So, you know, you're getting a 6-core GPU, 6-core CPU, and a 2 times faster neural engine, which is a great feature. The camera also gets some minor upgrades as well, you know, much sharper quality. And I gotta say that I was actually blown away when I was playing around with the camera. Here are a couple of example shots that I've taken, and wow, look at the detail, the macro shots, the zoom, the clarity. This phone is starting to look just as good as my mirrorless camera, which costs like 5 times the price. And it's kind of making me contemplate, should I just stick with a phone and not use a camera anymore? Because man, the camera on this thing is actually insane. Now with the Pro Max model, you do get an upgraded telephoto. So if you are someone who likes to shoot a lot of nature stuff, sports, maybe you want to go to the zoo, you know. If you really need that extra zoom, you know, the Pro model definitely has more reach, whereas the standard Pro model, you don't get the super telephoto, but every other camera is still the same on here. You're still getting the high quality main camera, the wide angle, and a semi telephoto lens. Something I wish I would have seen was an improvement in the battery life. The battery life on this is pretty good. It's actually the same exact specs as the previous generation Pros. So if you get the standard Pro, it's about 23 hours. And then if you get the Pro Max model, it's 29 hours. So if you are on like a pretty modern phone, like a 13 Pro or a 14 Pro, jumping to the 15 Pro kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say it's not worth it, but it really depends, you know, because it's not really that much of an improvement. And I'm just keeping it real, you know, the iPhone 15 Pro is a great phone, but compared to the last generation or even 2 generations back, the differences are very minor. Now, if you are on an older generation phone, you know, definitely this would be a great consideration for an upgrade. But from someone like me coming from a 14 Pro Max, jumping to this phone, I don't really see that much of a reason to, you know what I'm saying? I definitely got to do a little bit more testing to see, you know, what this phone is really capable of, you know, pushing it to its limits, seeing how good the camera really is. And so my plan with this is to test it out for a few days and give you guys an update, a more in-depth review of what I think about it. I've already boasted about the new camera upgrades especially, so I really want to see, you know, how capable this camera is, especially in low light situations, you know, busy situations where there's a lot of complex visuals, you know, and as a camera nerd myself, you know, that's a very big deal, you know, the camera capabilities of this phone. And just from my small testing already, I'm already blown away at what this thing is capable of. So I'm really excited to see how this performs in the real world. Yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think of the new iPhone 15 Pro. Is it a buy? If you enjoyed this first impressions video, make sure to drop a like and a comment below. And if you guys want to see an updated video of me reviewing this thing and getting more in depth with it, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as well as turning on those post notifications to see when I upload. All my social medias will also be in the description below if you want to follow me on Instagram and whatnot. I definitely will be posting content about this phone on there as well. But with that being said, this is the iPhone 15 Pro. I'm excited to test it out and let you guys know what I think about it. And with that being said, I'll see you in our next video. Peace.